Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu salam ala rasulullah. We continue reading from Imam Ghazali's Kitab Sharh Ajaib al-Qalb, The Marvels of the Heart. This is book 21 of Ihya Ulumuddin, The Revival of the Religious Sciences of the Islamic Sciences, translated by Walter James Kelly. At the end of the last session, we read the story of Ahmad al-Naqib with the Shibli. And the context for these stories is that Imam Ghazali wants to show through various stories from different times, including with the companions of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the story of Umar. We said that narration has a weak chain of narrators, but nevertheless, a story about Abu Bakr Siddiq telling Aisha that his wife was pregnant and that he knew she was pregnant with another sister of Aisha anha, because she had Asma already. So this story of Ahmad Naqib, as we have read, ultimately he wanted to give 50 golden dinars to a blind person who rejected, and he reiterated the message of Ash-Shibli. The point I'm raising is different now from the story itself. Then he attempted to give it to the barber, who said that he pledged to give a free haircut to that blind person. And there are two things at the end of the story. He said, "So I cast them," meaning the 50 golden dinars, into the Tigris, to the river. This is you have the Euphrates and we have the Tigris in Iraq. And he said, "No one magnifies you," meaning the gold, "but God humbles him." Yes, one should not magnify the gold in terms of attachment, but one should be thankful for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for even Imam Ghazali, he says, if it were not for God subhanahu wa ta'ala, if it were not for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then gold and silver would be like other, like stones. It's only Nixon really who cut off the relationship between gold and fiat money, so the United States can print money at will. Okay, if one is fully aware, Nixon said it's only a temporary thing. No, it's not. It's not a temporary thing. We are already, literally, we are 50 years at this moment after Nixon's decision. So he did cast him into the Tigris, and he said, "No one magnifies you." No, one should not magnify gold. Now go back to the issue of throwing the 50 dinars into the Tigris. You shouldn't. The fact that the blind person refused to take them and that the barber refused to take them doesn't mean that you go and throw the 50 dinars into the Tigris. There will still be, you keep them, even if the fact that you threw them doesn't prove anything, because there was an accusation of being a miser, being cheap. It doesn't prove anything, and one should not. You don't really, you're not allowed to destroy property, or private or public. private or public. The next story is that of Hamza bin Abdullah al-Alawi. He said, I went into the presence of Abu al-Khair al-Tinani, thinking in my heart that I would greet him but not eat food in his house. After I left his house, he soon caught up with me, and he was carrying a platter of food. He said, Eat, O youth, for you have now passed out from the limits set by your former resolution. Because he said he will not eat uh, he will not eat food in his house, in the house of Abu Khair Tinani. And this is, one might say, the story is there because Tinani knew what Hamza bin Abdullah al-Alawi he knew about the ideas that he entertained within himself. And then it's also the utmost generosity to follow your guest outside. If your guest said, I will not eat in your house, then you'll just do that outside the house if this is the case. This man, Abu Khair Tinani, was famous for his miraculous gifts. Miraculous, of course, miracles. Just remember two simple things: miracles for the prophets, karamat for the awliya. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestows his out of his generosity, whether it's knowledge or acts, as we have really in this case. It's a karama that he knew what Hamza bin Abdullah Alawi thought within himself. A different story still related to Abu al-Khair al-Tinani, Ibrahim al-Raqi from Raqqa said, I went to seeing Abu al-Khair, to greet him, but arrived at the time of the sunset prayer, Maghrib, and he had not recited the Fatiha beautifully. So he did hear him recite al-Fatiha. So I said to myself that my trip was in vain. When he had finished, I went outside to perform my ablutions, and a lion came at me. First of all, we did have lions. We did have, in this region, until very lately. I mean, a few years ago, there was a lioness in the area of the Dead Sea, في عين جدي, at the Jidi water springs, and it did enter a house, but it was too old to do anything. It just went inside the house and it just simply laid down remnants of the animals of Palestine. Of course, I spoke about Palestine, meaning the region. Even in the Arabian Peninsula, there were animals that became extinct in the Arabian Peninsula. They through hunting. So he did not like the recitation of Abu al-Khair, and he thought that that the whole trip was in vain. So the lion came to him outside while he was trying to do his ablution. So he said, so I went back to Abu al-Khair and told him that a lion had come at me. Literally, he was afraid of the lion, which makes sense. Then he went and shouted at it. Then Abu al-Khair went outside and shouted at the lion. What did he say? He said, did I not tell you not to attack my guests? Thereupon the lion turned aside and I performed my ablutions. That's a karama. When I returned, he said to me, "You have labored to make right that which is external, meaning that I know that you have thought that you did not like my recitation. You have labored to make right that which is external, ظاهر, and we are afraid of the lion, while we have labored to make right that which is within, الباطن, and the lion was afraid of us." Of course, one should not really ignore either. You do the ablution, you do the ghusl, you do the you wear pure, not expensive, it's not haram, but pure in the sense of clean clothing, clean place for prayer, etc. These, of course, they are external, but the presence of the heart is the most important thing in this case. The others are important; they are required. This is the law. Okay, this is the Sharia. You cannot skip that. But that's the external, cleansing the heart, preparing the heart concentrating on the prayer, being present. In the hadith of Jibreel alayhi salam, it's obvious. We have Islam, we have Iman, and then Ihsan. And in that hadith, definition of Ihsan is very clear. أن تعبد الله كأنك تراه فإن لم تكن تراه فإنه يراك. That you do worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as if you see him, for if you don't see him, he sees you. The stories of the insight of the sheikhs and their ability to know the thoughts. This is now Imam Ghazali continues. So their ability to know the thoughts and intents of men are numerous. Indeed, the stories told of their seeing Al-Khidr alayhi salam, who was remember the story of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam in Surah Al-Kahf, and the three incidents that took place, poking causing a hole in the hull of the ship, and number two, killing the boy, and number three, fixing a wall which was about to collapse, fixing that without asking for anything in return, while the same village denied them hospitality and food. So it was Al-Khidr, Wallah subhanahu wa ta'ala wa alam. So indeed the story is told of their seeking Khidr, radiallahu anh, and asking questions of him, of hearing the voice of an unseen speaker, Hatif, and that's really the name of the telephone, the and various kinds of miraculous. That's we took us against karamat, rather miracles without number. A story is of no value to him who denies, as long as he does not see it from his own eyes or with his own eyes, and he who denies the principle denies also the details. The absolute proof that no one can deny consists of two things. One of them is the wonders of the true dream vision, for by the الرؤية الصادقة. So one of them is the wonders of the true dream vision, for by it the unknown is unveiled. If this is permissible in sleep, it is also not impossible during waking hours, for sleep does not differ from waking, save that the senses are stilled and not busied in the things perceived by them. How many a waking man is there so deep in thought that he neither hears nor sees because of his preoccupation with himself. The second, but before we move to the second, let's shed light on the dream vision, الرؤية. In the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, The true dream vision الرؤية الصادقة uh, is 140 1 part of 46 146 of prophecy, but it doesn't mean that what you see is could be basically a message to you. It should never basically uh, be translated into a law or but there could be a message there. The second is that the messenger of God sallallahu alaihi wasallam was able to speak accurately about the unknown and things in the future as is set forth in the Quran. If that is permissible in the case of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it is also permissible for others. For a prophet is merely a person to whom the true nature of things has been disclosed and who works for the reformation of mankind. So it is not impossible that there should exist a person to whom the true nature of things has been disclosed, but who does not work for the reformation of mankind. Such a man is not called a prophet, but a saint, wali. So whoever believes in the prophets and considers true dream vision or dream vision trustworthy must unquestionably assert that the heart has two doors: a door to the outer world, which is the external senses, and a door to the world of spirits from within the heart, which is the door of both general and prophetic inspiration and inbreathing within the heart. نفث في روعي. If he asserts his belief in both of these, he cannot limit knowledge to what is gained by learning and the ordinary direct methods, but striving, the mujahada, is also another way for him. This illustrates the fact that we have mentioned of the strange swaying back and forth of the heart between the material world and the world of spirits. Now, regarding the unveiling of a thing in sleep by means of an example that needs interpretation, and likewise the appearance of angels to prophets and saints in different forms, these are among the secrets of the wonders of the heart, and only that knowledge which comes through a mystic unveiling befits them. So let us limit ourselves to what we have mentioned, for it is sufficient to encourage striving and seeking unveiling therein. Do remember that this story of Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam, the story of Joseph, who had a vision, a true dream vision, and what did he say to his father, Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam, Jacob? He told him, إني رأيت 11 كوكبا والشمس والقمر رأيتهم لي ساجدين. I have seen in this vision, in this true dream vision, that I saw 11 planets and the sun and the moon prostrating before me. And what was the reaction of Yaqub alayhi salam? He did not tell him the meaning, but he knew the meaning immediately. Why do I say this? How what's the proof for this? Because he told him, do not say this, do not mention this dream, this vision, this to your brothers, otherwise they will plot against you, they wish you okay. فيكيد لك كيدا. Do brothers reach this lowly thing sometimes? Remember the story of the two children of Adam. I'm amazed about what brothers or sisters uh, could do to each other. The two children of Adam, one of them killed the other. That's half of the men on earth, half of the young men on earth. There was plenty of space, plenty of resources, no different culture. It's not a clash of civilization. Satan has already pledged to be on the path of people. At the end result, what does Satan want? كمثل الشيطان إذ قال الإنسان اكفر فلما كفر قال إني بريء منك إني أخاف الله رب العالمين. Drinking, adultery or fornication, resulting in pregnancy, killing the pregnant woman, and ultimately, to save his neck, he thought that if he prostrates before Satan, that would save him. No. One thing leads to the other. Then at the end of the story, of this is Surah Yusuf alayhi salam, which is number 12, by the way, of course, in the Quran. Towards the end of the story, when all of his brothers and his parents gather in Egypt, there was famine in the Holy Land in Palestine, and two things I would like to mention. One of them is that one can mention so many things, but two things here. I would restrict myself. One of them is he mentioned that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has brought them from Al-Badu. So they were Bedouin. Religion is one thing. So Bedouins could be Christian, Bedouins could be Jews, Bedouin could be Muslims, Bedouins. Before Islam, there were polytheists, and a little bit, after Islam, so there were Bedouins who were polytheists. That's a, so and Bedouins do not leave behind civilizations, cities, architecture. Bedouins are Bedouins, simple life. A tent and some cattle. So that's the one thing. Number two is the interpretation. So Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam, he told his father at that moment when they got together, هذا تأويل رؤياي. This is really the interpretation. Like really it has been enacted in reality. That's the interpretation of my true dream vision, which was mentioned at the very beginning of this surah, at the time when he was a child, and then later on when he was like the minister of the economy in Egypt. Imam Ghazali continues by saying, one of those to whom secrets are unveiled said, there appeared to me an angel who asked me to dictate to him something of what I had seen of course here again the translation of Tawheed as unity. No, it's the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, in my secret devotions. He said, what deed shall we write down to your account? We wish to take up, meaning to God for you a deed by which we shall draw near to God. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, I said, do you too not write down the practice of the prescribed duties, fara'id? They answered, surely. I said, that will suffice you. This is an indication that the noble scribes, al-kiram al-katibin, are not acquainted with the secrets of the heart, but only with these that are manifest. One of the Gnostics Arifin said, I asked one of the substitutes, Al-Abdal, if you know in Sufi language, these are the substitutes, concerning the perception of certitude, yaqeen. He turned to his left and said, What do you say? God's mercy be upon you. Then he turned to his right and said, What do you say? God's mercy be upon you. Then he smote upon his breast and said, What do you say? God's mercy be upon you. Thereupon he answered me with the strangest reply I have ever heard. So I asked him about his turning like left and right, and he replied, I did not have any ready answer in that matter, so I asked the angel on the left, and he said, I don't know. Then I asked the angel on the right, who is more learned than he, and he also said, I don't know. Then I looked into my heart and asked it, and it told me the answer that I gave you. Therefore, it is more learned than both of them. This was the meaning of the saying of the Prophet ﷺ, Verily, there are in my nation recipients of discourse, mukallam, muhaddathun, and Umar, meaning Umar ibn Khattab, is one of them. There's a tradition, it's basically athar, it's not a prophetic tradition, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Whenever I examine the heart of a man and find persistent remembrance of me, preponderant therein, I assume control over him and become his companion. I converse with him and become his familiar friend. Abu Sulaiman al-Darani, may God's mercy be upon him, said, The heart is like a pavilion that has been pitched, around which are closed doors, and whatever door is opened onto it influences it. So it appears that the opening of one of the doors of the heart is toward the world of spirits and the highest beings. The door is opened by means of striving, scrupulous piety, wara, and shunning the lust of the present world. For this reason, Umar ibn Khattab wrote to the commanders of the troops, Remember that you hear from those who are obedient to God, for they have inspirations that are true. Some of the scholars have said, The hand of God is on the mouth of the sages, the hukama, and they only speak of that reality which God has prepared for them. And another said, you can say, if you will, that God the Exalted acquaints the humble in worship, khashi'un, with some of His secrets. Inshallah, this will be true, and inshallah, this will be something that will have a share of it. Until the next time, inshallah, when we start with chapter 11, an exposition of the an exposition of the domination of Satan over heart through evil promptings, the meaning of such suggestions, and the means of overcoming them. Until then, inshallah, subhanakallah wa hamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.